Hi, I'm Otis. I'm over 26 and single now. I'm on a boat, no boy, and I'm nowhere in this life. That's exactly what I can describe my situation right now. If 6 years ago I was a real rich kid who never cared a bit about money, then now I'm really lost and don't know where my life will flow to. Way back when I was 20, I was a son in a really rich family, and because my family lived in conditions of enormous wealth, I didn't care much about money. I just enjoyed my luxurious life, filled with delicious food and famous brands, and of course, I also had some complicated relationships with the girls. Practically speaking, thousands of girls were willing to date me thanks to the huge amount of money that I own. And yes, I used the money to flirt the girls that catch my eyes. But I felt bored quickly. Just about 2 to 3 days or so, I fell out of love with them and then found a new one to fulfill. When it comes to my education path, everything was just excellent over those years. Since I was little, I studied in the much praised schools. My parents hired a tutor to teach me at home. Although I was not at the top or something, but eventually I easily graduated from high school. After my graduation, my parents spent pretty much money on my overseas study. I had a big chance to unwind by studying abroad in Australia then. During that period, it seemed real like I just holidayed and I enjoyed it to the fullest in a peaceful way. You know, me, myself, I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't even touch anything at home, just made a phone call and then my parents would always try to meet my demand. Until I was a sophomore, there was a piece of breaking news that turned me and my life into big trouble. My family was going to go bankrupt. Yes, the ebb and flow in life is real. Just 2 years ago before I studied in Australia, my family was doing so well and the allowance that my parents sent me was still enough. But now it turned out that my family became bankrupt and they couldn't support me anymore. Cannot accept the truth, I decided to go back to my hometown. Right after I arrived in my homeland, I caught the coach to go straight to my house. It was so strange that my house was closed quietly. No one there. I called my parents to ask them where they were. Otis, that is no longer our house, my dear. Oh my god, what did I just hear from my dad? The house had been sold to take out the loan long time ago, and my parents moved to a new place. I quickly caught the taxi and followed my parents' directions. It was like everything was in a different direction. All I could see was a run-down lodging house with cramped space and much smaller than my previous room. I couldn't believe that my parents had eaten meals, sleeping, and dealt with everything in this room, and in the very near future, I would stay here too. So, from now on, I was nearly on the breadline and had to drop out of school to support my parents to pay the debts. I had never gone to work before, that's why I was kicked out of the companies just after some days for probation. That's it, and I had to face it. I just kept moving on to find another job. To make ends meet, I didn't hesitate to do anything I could. A stevedore, shipper, and other part-time jobs. I was full of hope that I could use all of my time to work, then get back to my luxurious life that I used to have. I worked from dawn to dusk, and at some points I had to work with 3 or 4 jobs within a day. With that huge workload, I just took 2 to 3 hours sleep per day, and I didn't even care whether I had enough free meals or not. My day went by with just a loaf of bread, a bag of sticky rice, or a bowl of noodles to feel full. I could see that my health went down really quickly. I was going dizzy and couldn't focus on my work, and sometimes I became faint. Although I tried really hard to work, but the income was not much. It was just enough for 3 of us to pay the bills. Likewise, my parents was not doing quite well because of their old age. It was hard to find a job. If things kept going on, so when can we pay the debts and when can I truly live, not just exist like this? I met my buddies. Of course, they made fun of me and looked down on me when seeing me drowning in work. I couldn't believe that this day had just come to me, the rich Otis. I was floating indirectly and just hoped to find a boy to cling to. And this life can never ever end us without giving away. After 8 months working so hard, I just tasted the bitterness and harshness of this life, and it was the very first time that I could see my finish line. Today, my parents tell me that they can hire a lawyer who can help us to take back one-third of our property that compensated the company. We can rebuild our life now. I'm so happy to merely burst into tears when hearing the news. Maybe there are still difficulties waiting, but at least I can find a way out. I decide to get back to work and support my parents instead of continuing my study abroad. The compensation is really the boy that I have to appreciate and cannot miss it again. For sure, I will never let me live that strenuous life again. I have to find a way to use it effectively. What do you think about my decision? Please give me your useful advice.